Okay. So we had talked about the IV characteristics. So in the IV characteristics, as I said that this IV characteristics of a BJT, this looks very similar to the IV characteristics of a MOSFET. So here you can find that the collector current levels, so they are changing as the base current is increasing. So as the base current is increasing, the collector current levels are also changing, right? So that is, one can control the collector current by the base current. So increase the base current, the collector current is increasing. Okay. Now this region is called active region in the BJT, and this region which is towards the left, this is called saturation region in BJT. So which is just opposite to what we had read in the MOSFET. In the MOSFET we had said that this region, that is the middle one, this is saturation region because current is saturated. The collector current, sorry, the drain current there was saturated, so we called it saturation region, and the left region was this region in the MOSFET was active, but here it is just opposite. Why it is opposite? So that has to be understood. And in this region actually, right, so this left region, that is saturation region, the BJT collector current is saturated. So from here the IV characteristic, it doesn't seem that collector current is actually saturated. So that can be found by this circuit, right? So if we look at this circuit, then only we can understand how this collector current is saturated in this region. So saturated or maximum current flows through this collector resistance in the saturation region, right? So the collector current is saturated. So we have saturated in the saturation region, the collector current, that is IC saturated, and which is also equal to the maximum collector current that can flow through this BJT. So during saturation, okay. So one can find out this from this picture. So before that, let us try to bias this transistor. Okay. So we had read that in the active mode, the emitter base junction has to be forward biased and collector base junction has to be reverse biased. So let us try to make this transistor in to an active mode, right? So let us bias this transistor to operate in active mode. So in active mode, emitter base junction, that is this emitter base junction, this PN junction has to be forward biased. And since we are referring to this circuit where the emitter is grounded and emitter is common to both base and collector, so this is a common emitter circuit. So let us connect the emitter here to ground. And this is the first thing we'll do, that we connect this emitter to ground so that 0 volt appears at emitter. So for forward biasing this junction, PN junction, this one, we need to apply some positive voltage at the base. Let us say that positive voltage is 3 volts. Okay. So now this PN junction is forward biased. Okay. That is emitter base junction is forward biased. Okay. Now the next thing we have to do is that we have to make this collector base junction reverse bias. Okay. So I'll go back and again check in the active mode, collector base junction has to be reverse bias and emitter base junction has to be forward bias. So I'll have to make now collector base junction reverse bias. So how do we do that? Since base is already connected to plus 3 volt, so if I connect plus 5 volt or anything higher than plus 3 volt here, then this base collector junction becomes reverse bias. Okay. So reverse bias of the 3 minus 5, that is minus 2 volt, is appearing between base and collector. So this PN junction, base collector junction, is reverse bias. So now my transistor is in active mode of operation. Okay. Now we also understand that the collector to emitter voltage, that is VCE, collector to emitter voltage, that is from collector to emitter voltage, right? So this VCE is actually plotted on the x-axis of the IV characteristics. Okay. So this is important for us, VCE, which is currently 5 minus 0, 5 volts, that is, right? So plus 5 volt. Okay. And we see here, notice here that at this point, that is at the saturation point, the collector to emitter voltage, VCE. So this is comparatively small, right? So it is very small here at this point, VCE, right? So let us try to make VCE small here also. Currently it is 5 volts. So let us try to make this VCE small so that we reach this point where the IV characteristic is showing saturation. Okay, saturation of what? Saturation of collector current. And saturation also here means that the collector current, the maximum collector current will flow through this circuit. Okay. So let us try to make this VCE small, that is with this VCE. How do we make this VCE small? Simply we try to reduce this collector voltage. Let us say from plus 5 volt, I make now this as plus 3 volts. Okay. So when I make collector at plus 3 volts, so that means collector to base bias now is how much? VCB, that is collector to base bias is now 0 volts, 3 minus 3. Okay. So that means it is this point, VCB is equal to 0 volt, right? So VCB is 0 volt, that means this PN junction is not biased at all. It is an equilibrium, right? Base collector voltage is 0 or collector base voltage is 0 volts. Okay. Now let us try to further reduce this voltage, collector to emitter voltage, right? So collector to emitter, if we see that, then it is plus 3 minus 0 volt. So collector to emitter voltage is now 3 volts. Okay. Now let us further reduce the collector voltage from 3 volts to 0 volts. Okay. So from 3 volt to 0 volt, so that VCE is 0. Right, so now VCE, in this case, VCE is 0 volts. VCE is 0 volts in this case. So when VCE is 0 volts, then this PN junction, so this is also forward bias now in this condition. So this PN junction becomes forward bias. Emitter base junction is already forward biased, and now collector base junction also becomes forward biased. Okay, so both junctions are now forward biased. So what happens when both junctions are forward biased? So that is actually saturation region of operation or saturation mode, right? Both collector base junction and emitter base junction are forward biased now. Okay, because my collector voltage is now 0, so that VCE is 0, that is this point. Okay, so what happens when VCE is 0 in this circuit? Let us try to bring this VCE to this circuit. Okay. So what happens when VCE is 0? That is, VCE is between collector and emitter. Emitter is already grounded in this. Okay, so VCE exists over here between collector and emitter. Emitter is already grounded, so VCE is obviously 0 volt here, because VC is connected to 0 volt. So we have reduced the collector voltage supply to 0 volt, and we bring this VCE to 0. VC is equal to 0 volt over here. Okay. So VCE is equal to 0 volt means that the collector current, that is this current, so this is maximum in this case, right? That is this collector current IC. So this is equal to now VCC by RCC, which is maximum when VCE is equal to 0. Okay. So I'll write IC maximum. IC maximum. Okay. Or maybe this one. Okay. So the collector current is maximum and collector current is saturated. Saturated, why? Because in this scenario, even if I try to increase the base current, so that will not affect the collector current. So that IC is equal to beta IB relation, so that doesn't work here now. In which region? In this region, saturation region. So that is why this region in BJT is called saturation region, because the collector current is saturated. So that means this relation doesn't works here in this region, saturation region. That is, even if you increase the base current, it will have no effect on the collector current. Collector current will still be the same, that is maximum collector current, that is equal to VCC by RC. Okay. So that is why this region is called saturation region. Okay. In fact, we had commented also here that in the saturation region, the transistor is fully on, operating as a switch, where IC is, that is collector current, is equal to the saturation current or the maximum collector current. Okay. And in the active region, we had commented that the collector current changes with the base current. Okay. So for amplification purpose, one can utilize this active region where the collector current is increasing or changing with base current. But here in the saturation region, whatever the base current would be, the collector current will not change. It will still be same. That is VCC by RC, or maximum collector current, will flow. So that is why this region here, this is called saturation region, and this only appears when VCB, that is collector to base biasing, is at 0 volt. So it starts from this point. Okay. Yeah, right. Okay. So now let us look into the cutoff and saturation characteristics into somewhat more details once again. So in cutoff, that is when the transistor is cut off. Okay. So transistor is cut off in this circuit. So that means you don't have a connection between collector and emitter. Okay. So that is considered as an open transistor connection, or if transistor is assumed as a switch between collector and emitter, so that switch is now open. Okay. So in this condition, the base current is 0, the collector current is also 0, and the collector voltage, which is appearing here, that is output voltage, so that is equal to VCC. Okay. So the collector voltage is maximum, which is equal to VCC in this case when the transistor is cut off. So when the transistor is cut off, when base emitter voltage is less than 0.7 volts. Or one can say that the input or the base terminal is shorted to emitter, which is already connected to ground. So this is common emitter configuration. Emitter is grounded. So one can say that base terminal or input is connected to ground, so that the base emitter voltage is less than 0.7 volt and the transistor is cut off. So that also means that base emitter junction is reverse biased. So base emitter junction is, that means reverse biased, and the collector base junction is also reverse biased. Okay. So since base is connected to 0 and collector is connected to positive, and this is an NPN transistor, okay, where collector is connected to positive supply and base is connected to 0. So that means base collector junction is reverse biased. Okay. Transistor is fully off, or cutoff region it is in. No collector current flows, that is collector current is 0. Okay. IC is 0 here. And V out maximum collector voltage is achieved here, which is equal to VCC. And the transistor operates as an open switch. Now let us look at the saturation characteristics, that is when the MOSFET is saturated. Okay. So in the saturation, both the junctions have to be forward biased. Okay. So that means here also the same condition has to be met. So both the junctions have to be forward biased. So in fact, the base is connected now to VCC. Okay. So base is now connected to VCC. So that means my base is here P. Okay. So emitter base junction is forward biased. So obviously, because base is connected to VCC and base is already P type. Okay. So base emitter junction is forward biased, fine. Emitter base junction is forward biased, and collector base junction, that is collector, that is this point. Okay. So collector base junction is also forward biased in this case. Okay. And the base emitter voltage is greater than 0.7 volts, which is the cut-in voltage of the diodes which are inside this transistor. Base emitter junction is forward biased, collector base junction is forward biased, transistor is fully on, and maximum collector current flows. So we have already seen here that in this case maximum collector current is flowing when when in the saturation region, that is when VCE is 0. Okay. So here also, since VCE is 0, so that is why maximum collector current flows, that is IC, is equal to VCC by RL, and the switch, that is this transistor, represents a switch which is now closed. Okay. And when it is closed, so obviously this terminal VC, that is V out, so that will be equal to 0, and the transistor operates as a closed switch. So one can use a BJT as a switch in these two regions, that is cutoff and saturation. Now the region which is left is now only active region. So that region, active region, will be utilized for amplification purpose. That is this middle region here, from here to here. So this will be utilized for amplification purpose. Okay. So in MOSFETs also we had seen that the middle region was used for amplification purpose, but there the middle region represented a drain current which was constant, but here the collector current will depend upon the base current. Okay. So base current is increased, the collector current will also increase via this relation. That is, an amplification of the base current can be done, right? So small base current and large beta, maybe beta somewhere around 50 or 100. Okay. So if that situation is there, then of course this base current can be, that is input current or input base current, can be amplified so that the output collector current can be achieved at a larger scale than the base current. So the base current can be amplified, okay, in this region. So how this amplification is done, so that is also important. So we'll understand that also, but before that, let us also try to understand how the energy band diagram changes when the transistor operates in active mode. So once you understand how this changes in the active mode, so then after that you can find out the energy band diagrams for the saturation modes also and cutoff modes also, or maybe reverse active modes also can be found. So the energy band diagram of the PNP transistor, this is PNP transistor's energy band diagram, because this emitter is P type here, base is N type, and collector is also P type. Okay. So when these three regions are joined together, Fermi level is aligned straight at equilibrium. Throughout the device, the Fermi level is straight, no discontinuities. Fermi level is close to the valence band, so it is P type, the emitter is P type. Fermi level is close to the conduction band, right? So this is the conduction band for the N type material in the base. Similarly, now the Fermi level, this one is close to again the valence band. So the collector material is P type, right? So this is in equilibrium. Now let us try to apply, try to make this transistor to work in active mode. So that is, in active mode, you have to make emitter base junction forward biased and collector base junction reverse biased, right? So I'll write F for forward bias and R for reverse bias. So when you apply forward bias across this junction, that is this PN junction, forward bias across this junction. So forward bias across this junction will definitely reduce the barrier potential. So this is my barrier potential. So this barrier potential reduces when forward bias is applied. So that is, now this barrier potential is only this much. It has reduced. Okay. Similarly, this junction, that is this one, this PN junction. So this has to be now reverse biased. So when I apply reverse bias across this junction, so this barrier potential which was appearing here, so that should increase. So which is actually increasing here. So one can see that this barrier potential is increasing since reverse bias is applied on the collector base side. So this barrier potential has increased. So that way one can identify the changes in the energy band diagram, which are dependent on obviously the mode of operation of these transistors. Now let us also once again understand how this transistor works here. Okay. The device physics once again. Now, when you forward bias this PN junction, that is this one, emitter base junction, when it is forward biased. So forward biasing this junction will obviously do what is that the holes from the p-type region, that is this region is my p-type, so holes will diffuse from p-type region to this base which is n-type. Okay. And some of the holes will recombine, so these are the holes which are recombining, and the left out holes will reach the collector, that is this. So this is my collector, this is my emitter, and this is base. So the holes which were emitted, they came into the base and then they came into the collector. Some of these holes, they recombine with the electrons in the n-type base. Okay. And some of the electrons from the n-type base, so they also move to the p-type emitter, right? Because in forward bias, both holes will move from p to n and electrons will move from n to p. So this arrow that is representing electron movement from n to p side is very thin, because we have already assumed that the base is very thin and also it is lightly doped. So that is why smaller number of electrons are moving from n side to p side, that is from base to emitter. So that is why this arrow has been shown thin compared to this arrow. Okay. So that means my electrons are lost from the base because of this and because also of the recombination. Okay. Because some holes recombined with the holes with electrons already present in the base. So I have loss of electrons in the base because of two phenomena. One is due to recombination and the other is due to the forward bias of this PN junction. Okay. So that means these lost electrons have to be supplied. Okay. So lost electrons will have to be obviously supplied. So from where it will be supplied? So these electrons are supplied from the base. Okay. So we see electron supply from the base, for the base, into the base, okay, to compensate loss of electrons because of recombination and because of the electrons moving from n to p side, that is base to emitter side. So loss of these electrons are compensated by this electron flow which is coming into the base from the base terminal. So because electrons are moving in this direction into the base, so that obviously means I'll have a current out of the base because of these electrons which are moving into the base. Right? So I have a current IB. Okay? So the origin of base current is due to this electron flow into the base. Right? So that is why the base current is present here. To compensate the loss of electrons in the base, we have base current. Okay? Now some electron and holes are also crossing the collector and base region. Okay. Some electron and hole, they are crossing the collector base region because of the reverse bias which is appearing across the base and collector region. Okay. So in the active mode, we had said that collector base junction is reverse bias. So collector base junction is reverse bias. So that means minority carriers from p side, that is electrons, will move from collector to base, so which is shown by this small white arrow. So this is minority carrier, that is electrons moving from the collector to the base. Similarly, minority carriers in the base which are actually holes, so they are moving from base to the collector side. Now because some electrons are moving from collector to the base side, so that means this base current should decrease, right? Because this base current is because of the loss of the electrons in the base region. But now since the collector is also supplying some electrons to the base, so that means this base current should reduce. Okay? So the base current actually reduces because of this phenomenon. Okay? Some small reduction is there obviously because of this. Okay? That is collector base junction is reverse bias. So some minority carriers, that is electrons in this collector junction, collector region, so that they will move into the base, and because of this the base current will reduce. Okay. Now for a good transistor, the base has to be thin and also it has to be lightly doped. Okay. So the base has to be thin and lightly doped so that recombination of these holes which were coming from emitter. Okay. So this is a recombination here. So this recombination can be brought down if the base is thin and it is lightly doped. So the electrons the holes which were coming from the emitter, so they will not recombine, or maybe they will recombine, but that recombination will be very small if the base is thin and also if the base is lightly doped. Okay. Now there is a problem with when the base is thin. So when the base is thin, then also there is a problem. Let us say my base is thin here. Let us say this base is thin. This is emitter. This is base, and this one is collector. So let us say this base is thin, and let us say that the collector base junction is reverse bias. VR, let us say reverse bias VRB. Okay. So collector base junction is reverse bias. So when collector base junction is reverse bias, then obviously the depletion region, so that widens. Okay. And imagine the reverse bias increases to a large extent. So reverse bias across the collector base junction, that increases. So what will happen to the this depletion region? So this depletion region will also extend. And if this base is very thin, so then that would mean that the reverse bias on the collector base side, what it will do is that the depletion region will cover the entire base. Okay. So we have entire base covered by now the depletion region because my base is thin. Okay. So the depletion region is now existing in the entire base. So if the depletion region exists in the entire base, so that means the holes which were coming from the emitter, they will directly reach the collector. Okay. Because you don't have any semiconductor in between here. So you have a high electric field region because of depletion region. So these holes, they will directly reach the collector. No recombination at all, nothing. So that means that in this case, the collector current should increase. Okay. And this effect where the holes are moving through the depletion region, this is also called punch through effect, or it is also called base width modulation effect due to thin base. So that is why in the IV characteristics, you are seeing this region where the collector current is increasing abruptly because this collector to emitter voltage is increasing. Okay. So when collector to emitter voltage is increasing, that is, let us say it is 10 volts collector voltage. So reverse bias, so that means across this collector base junction is minus 7 volts. So that is increasing reverse bias. So that means the base, that is this base, will be completely covered by the depletion region. Okay. So because of this, the carriers from the emitter will directly reach the collector. So because of which the collector current will increase. Okay. So this effect is called base width modulation effect. Okay. This effect, right? So in the IV characteristics where the collector current is increasing abruptly. So this is called base width modulation effect or punch through. Now we have already commented that why there would be base current. Okay. So we have said that there will be base current because of loss of electrons in the base. Some electrons have to be supplied into the base by the base terminal, and when the electrons are moving in this direction, so obviously the base current will be out of the base. The direction of the base current would be out of the base. Okay. So because of recombination of injected holes, that is, the holes recombine with electrons, so electrons are lost in the base, So lost electrons have to be resupplied through the base, and because of which there would be base current. Then some electrons will be injected from N to P in the forward bias emitter junction. That is this one, these electrons. So because of which also the electrons are lost in the base. So these electrons also have to be supplied by the base current. Third reason is that some electrons are swept into the base at the reverse bias collector junction. That is these electrons coming from the collector. So because of which the base current reduces. The base current will reduce because of this effect. That is, some electrons are coming from collector to the base side because of the reverse bias junction across the collector base junction. Okay. So let us redefine once again the dominant sources of base current. So the dominant sources we have studied are recombination in the base and injection into the emitter region. Now both these effects can be reduced by good device design rules, or maybe some good design architectures. Okay. So they can be reduced. And in a well designed transistor, IB will be very small. In fact, IB can be 1/100th of IE, 1/100 of IE. In a good or well designed transistor, IB will be very small. So IB will be somewhere around 1/100th of the emitter current. Okay. Now we also bring in the concept of now ideal transistor. So ideal transistor model is based on ideal PN junction diode. Since in the transistor we have seen there are two PN junction diodes. So if those two PN diodes are ideal, so the transistor would be ideal. Okay. So what do we mean by ideal PN junction diode? So ideal PN diode model approximation assumes that there is no recombination within the depletion region. So there is no recombination. So that means entire holes which are emitted from emitter, so they are collected at the collector. Okay. So that is actually the ideal transistor model, which is based on ideal diode model, which assumes that there is no recombination within the depletion region. Okay. So one of these ideal BJT or transistor models is Eber-Small model. So we will read Eber-Small model later on, but yes, let us understand that this is one of the ideal transistor model approach, and this Eber-Small model will give you a DC equivalent model or DC or large signal equivalent model of this bipolar junction transistor. So we'll read about this Eber-Small model. Just I have included a picture over here for your reference, and what this picture means. I mean, what are these numbers here, right? So what are these equations? What are these arrows representing? So we'll understand very soon. Okay, and how this base current comes to be this value. So we'll understand very soon when we will talk about this Eber-Small model of BJT. So I think I'll stop here, and tomorrow we'll have a class, and then we can continue from here. So if you have any queries, then please ask.
सर जो बेस में हम इलेक्ट्रॉन्स वो बाहर से इंजेक्ट करेंगे ना, सप्लाई होगा ना वो तो